This is how I went from a 2D newbie before the lockdown and into a 3D booby in Blender. That's how we call a newbie in Blender, a booby. This is how you learn 3D in under 2 weeks as a complete beginner, and I used this technique to learn 3D and ended up making 2 short films to test it. But first, if you're one of those who consider their PC as a potato, also called a low-end PC, whoa! I don't know if this assures you, but we are going to be using a software called Blender. And Blender is not too heavy on low-end systems. But when it comes to rendering is the part where the software builds the image or the image sequence that you have been working on with the texture, the lighting, and everything else. To learn any software or anything else, first of all, you need to get through the fear of messing things up. For that, you have to learn the basics. And in this case, it's the interface of the software. But the thing is, what's interesting in learning the interface just for the sake of learning the interface? Start by creating your own project. And for me, it was creating some low poly models. So I started up watching some different tutorials from YouTubers like Grant Abbott to make some great... By doing this, I was not only comfortable with the software, but now I felt like I can mess up anything in this software. And there was no limit. Now tell me, how many of you have stopped or never got the courage to learn something because you just had the fear to mess things up at the start? You are just forgetting the fact that it's part of the process. And I did mess up so many times. And those mess ups taught me something. So technically they are not mess ups. So at the end, I ended up making some models, and as you can see, these were not perfect, but these were the techniques that I used to learn the interface, and they were the steps that I walked on. But before you go through this learning process, just don't forget that you should lower your expectations, because maybe you watch some 3D movies and you follow some great 3D artists on your social media, and which might lead you to live up to their levels, but they might have worked too long on their craft and now they have attained that level, but which is not your case. But that doesn't mean you have to lower your excitement, because the excitement that you have is going to lead you to places in the future. Well, that said, you have to continue working on this. All I'm saying is that this was the technique I used as the exercise, my way of learning, and this was pretty effective for me, and it was quick. And every time I exited those theaters, I always felt inspired to tell my own stories. And it took me more than 6 years, and guess what? It should have took me way less if only I stopped overthinking. I know it's easily said than done, but I hope that at least I cleared some of that smoke in your head. But if you don't know, as a great man once said,
at any rate, that is what we are going to try to do.
By the way, don't forget to watch my 2 short films, one which is already out on my YouTube channel and the next one will be out on Friday. So why not subscribe, right? If you think a comprehensive and effective and quick tutorial on Blender from Sigas would be helpful to you, why not leave a comment and accept my friend request by clicking that subscribe button. Until then,